Earlier this year, Andrade returned to WWE for his second run with the company after a bit of a bust of an AEW run and his previous run in WWE, which was a mixed bag. And I think people expected this run to be better than his previous ones, but thus far it has been less than stellar, and it could be said that WWE are currently fumbling Andrade. So we're going to take a look at Andrade's WWE return so far from the very start until now, and answer if WWE really are fumbling Andrade right now. Like the video, subscribe, and let's get into it. Alright, let's do a very quick run through of all the events that led Andrade to his sensational WWE return earlier this year. Andrade was originally signed to the WWE on November 19th, 2015, joining the NXT brand, and originally he worked under the name of Manny Andrade, but he would officially debut for the brand under the new name of Andrade Cien Almas, which of course was also eventually changed to just Andrade. And Andrade ended up having a very successful NXT run. It started off slow, but eventually he found his way up the cards until at NXT TakeOver War Games 2017, where he would defeat Drew McIntyre to win the NXT title. And Andrade held this title for 140 days and had a very successful reign, which included his match against Johnny Gargano, which is regarded as one of the best NXT matches ever. And after his title reign ended in 2018, he would be drafted to the main roster, and once again his main roster run started off slow, but he would work his way up to a United States Championship run, which he beat Rey Mysterio to win. And speaking of, you probably remember his first run mainly from this great series of matches that he had with Rey Mysterio. But after that, his WWE run had run dry, and it was clear that WWE had no idea what to do with him, and Andrade himself was unhappy about his booking and wanted to leave. And after he requested his release, which at first was denied, it was eventually granted in March of 2021, and he was out of the WWE. He then went to AEW, where he was known as Andrade El Idolo, as he debuted in June of that same year, but his AEW run would of course end up being a bit of a bust, as he got lost in the shuffle fairly quickly and became a victim of just being thrown into a pointless stable, aka the AHFO. And when he did actually get a serious stable to be a part of with LFI, they didn't get any sort of push and were eliminated in the first round of the Trios title tournament. Andrade did have various pay-per-view and title programs in AEW, but always came up short, and there were times where it could be argued he should have won. There was also rumors that Andrade was trying to get himself fired from AEW on purpose when he got into a fight with Sammy Guevara after they beefed on Twitter the day before. Do you remember that whole ordeal? Bloody hell, 2022 AEW. And when Triple H took over WWE Creative, the rumors of him wanting to leave and return to the WWE only amplified, and people more or less accepted that when his contract expired, that's exactly what was gonna happen. And sure enough, at the end of 2023, after a solid run in the Continental Classic and a pay-per-view loss to Miro in a good showing out, Andrade would depart AEW due to contract expiry. And he would of course make his return to the WWE at the 2024 Royal Rumble event as the number 4 entrant, and he would return to the Raw brand, where he would pick up a couple of victories, but between the Rumble and WrestleMania, he only had 2 matches. He was placed in a storyline where Dominic Mysterio was trying to get Andrade to align with him, but Andrade would instead turn on him and align with Rey Mysterio, who he would team with on night 1 of WrestleMania to defeat Dom and Santos Escobar. But after this, things would drastically change for Andrade in the WWE, as he was drafted to SmackDown, and his matches became even more occasional, as his next match wasn't until the 31st of May on SmackDown. But also on that same day of tapings, he would make his WWE Speed debut, as he entered their number 1 contenders tournament, which they seem to always be doing, and eventually Andrade would go all the way to win the tournament and win the iShowSpeed Championship. Sure, it's a belt and he's won that belt, but it's just a bit of a meaningless one, and Andrade could surely be used better than just doing 3-minute matches on Twitter. Safe to say, his first 6 months in the WWE had been less than stellar and kinda disappointing. But Andrade on the 21st of June SmackDown would win a number 1 contenders match to earn a spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and going into this match, out of all the contestants in this match, Andrade was my personal choice to win it. He wasn't my prediction because the match itself was very unpredictable, but I thought out of all the contestants there, he was the most solid shout and the best choice to win it. But of course, we instead got Drew McIntyre winning it and cashing it in and losing it 10 minutes later, which I thought was a big waste, and Andrade would have been a much better holder. I really thought Andrade could have been a good Money in the Bank holder because he's definitely world title material, and having him carry around the briefcase would have at least given him something to do on TV and something to do on TV every week. But that kind of brings us to where we are now, where Andrade is still the WWE Speed Champion, and just this past SmackDown did pick up a win over Carmelo Hayes in a good match, which is hopefully the start of something meaningful for him. But to answer the question in the title, is the WWE currently fumbling Andrade? And I say yes. Yes, they are. Andrade is far better than whatever they're booking for him to do right now, but it's not the end of the world. And listen, I will always hate the whole just let it play out argument or the just wait and let it cook argument, because I think it's a lazy deflection or criticism towards booking, and even if we do get the destination we hope for with the booking, it doesn't mean the previous booking was less bad. For example, just because Bianca Belair got her win over Becky Lynch at WrestleMania doesn't mean her getting squashed by her at SummerSlam is no longer a stupid decision. It still was and still is. But I am actually gonna have to use that excuse with Andrade here, because I do think the signs are there, but I will believe it when I see it. My main thing though is I just don't see the point of bringing Andrade back just to use him in 3-minute matches, because that's somehow utilizing him worse than AEW did. Andrade is a good wrestler and a good in-ring worker, and he is charismatic. Why limit him to storyless 3-minute matches on a social media platform? The only thing that WWE really needs to do with him, I think, is just give him more credibility. I'm not saying make him a main eventer or world champion instantly, but why can't the guy just be on TV regularly? Using him in WWE Speed just gives him the perception of a lower card guy to me. And like I said, he was on this past SmackDown getting a win, and long may that continue, and let's get that Speed title off him and get him in some meaningful programs on TV and pay-per-view. Even if he isn't winning them, there's ways to make him look strong and credible, and just making him a regular more on TV will increase his credibility tenfold more than what he's currently doing on Speed. At the moment, I have to be honest, it feels like WWE only signed him so that AEW couldn't have him. But once again, I am hoping for and do have faith that I'll be proven wrong. But also once again, I'll believe it when I see it. Once he's done doing the stuff on Speed and he's lost that belt, there really is no excuse for him not being a regular on TV and not being booked to look credible. I also just think that since Andrade returned, there's so many more matches for him to have now with different people that weren't there in his first run, and it's not being taken advantage of. Like, I need to see him and Cody run it back like they did in AEW. I need to see that in WWE now, and I do hope and have faith that hopefully we will get to that point. But anyway, that's all from me on my thoughts on Andrade's run in the WWE so far, and my thoughts on WWE if they are fumbling Andrade. Leave a like on this video if you agree, comment if you disagree and why you disagree, and let me know your thoughts on Andrade in the WWE. Subscribe for more wrestling content. I'll see you all in the future. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.